Hi everyone, this is My Blue. Welcome to my channel. I'm originally from Serbia and I usually post videos about Serbian language, grammar, culture, post some vlogs in Serbian so that whoever wants to hear Serbian or learn Serbian can hear the language. But one part of what I do is I post reactions to videos and I just started doing this recently, but people seem to like it and that's why I'm continuing with it. Today I'm going to react to a video by, I'm gonna take my glasses for this because I can't see. It's by Langfocus. And the video is the Slavic languages and what makes them a family. I'm really intrigued and interested in this topic because I do study linguistics, but I don't go much into typology, so like the family tree and like topological differences, but I really love discovering these kind of things. And I think, and I've seen some video by Langfocus. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, but and I really like them. So I'm expecting big things from him. Let's start. I just watched the first 5 seconds of the intro and I already really like it. So the video is the Slavic languages and what makes them a family. Let's start.
I have no idea how to make a funny introduction for this video, so instead I'm going to give you a quick slideshow of cool, awesome Slavic stuff. Go!
Exactly.
Today I'm going to talk about the Slavic languages. They may not get as much attention as the Romance languages and the Germanic languages, but the Slavic languages are an important family of languages with 315 million native speakers and covering over half the area of Europe.
That's true, there's quite a lot of us, and I just forget about that because not everyone wants to learn a Slavic language, which is understandable. Also, there's so many, but maybe one day they're going to be a bit more popular.
That includes Eastern Europe, the Balkans, as well as the European part of Russia, and of course the Asian part of Russia as well. Slavic languages are a branch of the Indo-European language family. If we go all the way back to the beginning, then there was a language called Proto-Indo-European, which is the language from which all Indo-European languages descended. That includes the Romance languages, the Germanic languages, the Indo-Iranian languages, and of course the Slavic languages. One language that developed from Proto-Indo-European was Proto-Balto-Slavic. That language is the ancestor of both the Baltic languages and the Slavic languages. During that time it remained a single unified language. Around 500 CE there was a language called Proto-Slavic that would later split and would give birth to all of the modern Slavic languages of today. It was called the Common Slavic period, and during this period Proto-Slavic began to diverge into dialects, and as Slavic people migrated over a wider area, those differences increased. And by about 1000...
And that's one thing that I pointed out in my last video, is that usually, like from one language, you can get certain dialects, and those dialects can become a new language. Not necessarily, but they can due to isolation or due to influences from other languages, but they can become a language on their own because it's not really mutually intelligible to other Slavic languages.
There were distinct West Slavic, East Slavic, and South Slavic languages. Those three languages, the East Slavic languages include Russian, Ukrainian, and Belarusian, which is sometimes called White Russian.
Okay, I have to say I'm not an expert on Slavic languages. Of course, I do know something about my language and the languages surrounding it, but I don't know much about Russian or like other Slavic languages. So what I do know is that whenever I talk to someone who's from Ukraine, they say that, yeah, I speak Ukrainian and Russian, but they always say that Ukrainian and Russian are so similar. And that I guess the reason for that is because they are from the same branch.
The South Slavic language family includes Serbo-Croatian, Bulgarian and Macedonian, which are very similar, Slovenian, and also the liturgical language known as Old Church Slavonic. Slavonic just means Slavic. The West...
Yeah, okay, let's go back. He's probably gonna get much hate because of Serbo-Croatian. But people usually write down Serbo-Croatian to include all of the variations in there. And because it's still a very political issue currently, it's just easier for someone to write down Serbo-Croatian instead of like Serbian, Croatian, Bosnian, Montenegrin, and God knows which other variant. And also in my last video, I pointed out that Slovenian is quite different from the other Slavic languages on the Balkan, and Bulgarian and Macedonian. I didn't know that they were so close, but I guess they were. But yeah, I find it very difficult to understand them. But of course, I do understand like many words and expressions because they're Slavic, South Slavic languages. And Slavonic, it's the only time I heard about the Slavonic language was from my friends who were studying Serbian language and Serbian literature in Serbia, because they do need to know what the basis was, or like, yeah, it's a big part of our language, and that's why they had to be kind of like educated about the Slavonic language. Is it Slavonic? So those who wanted to learn more about the Serbian language had to be educated about Old Church Slavonic. For you guys who want to learn Serbian, you don't really have to do that, only if you want to.
The West Slavic languages include Polish, Czech, Slovak, Sorbian, which is a minority language in Eastern Germany, Kashubian, which is a minority language in Poland.
Kashubian?
The Slavic languages are much closer to
I just learned something new, Kashubian. I didn't know about it. Okay.
That's because Proto-Slavic split into different languages relatively recently compared to other language families like Germanic and Romance. Some people claim that all Slavic languages are mutually intelligible to a large degree, but that's not really true. The speaker of any Slavic language can probably find a way to make some sort of simple conversation with the speaker of any other Slavic language, or most other Slavic languages.
Or at least understand bits and pieces, like, you know, sure.
For example, the East Slavic branch. Here are some average figures from native speaker statements on the internet. So for Russian speakers, Belarusian is about 74% intelligible in its spoken form and 85% intelligible in its written form. Ukrainian is 50% intelligible in its spoken form and 85% intelligible in its written form. But in
Wow, okay. So for Russian speakers, they understand Belarusian more when spoken and Ukrainian more when written. I didn't know that. Obviously these stats are like based on people, you know, it's not like 100% true, but it gives you a tendency on what is more understandable.
But in both cases, there are also transitional dialects. For example, Ukrainian is more similar to the Russian dialects in the south of the country rather than the standard language, which is based on dialects of the north. So speakers of those southern Russian dialects might have an easier time communicating with someone from.
Makes sense.
He says, I'm a native Bulgarian speaker. I can understand 80% Serbian and 80% Russian, especially if they are written.
That's so weird, isn't it? I remember when I would talk to my friends from Russia and they would like say something like, this is so similar, how is that possible? It's not even in the same branch.
These writings were written in Old Church Slavonic. Slavonic just means Slavic, remember? It was the first Slavic literary language, and it was standardized by the saints Cyril and Methodius so that they could translate the Bible
and we say Cyrilo I Metodije.
Their religious works into the Slavic language, and they could minister to the Slavs and convert them to Christianity. At this point, there were Slavic dialects, but they were still.
Okay, I want to point out that I talk about Cyrilo and Metodije and the script in my book Zdravo Srbijo, so check it out if you want to learn a bit more about Serbian.
One of the writing systems Cyril and Methodius used to write Old Church Slavonic was the Cyrillic script. So the word Cyrillic comes from the saint's name, Cyril. The Cyrillic script was adapted from the Old Greek uncial script with some additional letters to represent sounds found in Old Church Slavonic that were not found in Greek. Today there are Slavic languages written in the Cyrillic script, and there are also those written in variations of the Latin script.
Yeah, that's also something really interesting. So not all Slavic languages have both scripts. So some of them are going to have only the Latin script, some of them the Cyrillic script, and some of them both. And in Serbia, coincidentally, we use both scripts.
And in the Cyrillic script tend to be for cultures in which the Eastern Orthodox or Eastern Catholic Church are dominant. Those written in the Latin script tend to be for cultures in which the Roman Catholic Church is dominant. One of the common features of nouns and also pronouns are highly inflected and have many grammatical cases. Grammatical case means that the noun or the pronoun changes form depending on its function in the sentence.
And I know you all hate padeži, and it's not only you, it's people in Serbia as well.
Slavic languages have up to 7 different grammatical cases. Let's look at an example for the Polish word for bottle. Butelka, butelki, butelce, butelkę, butelką, butelce. So the word bottle changes.
And I'm gonna guess that he is from Poland because he knows how to pronounce these things. Am I right? I don't know.
For people whose native language is not a highly inflected language with grammatical cases like that, this can make learning a Slavic language a challenge. You not only have to memorize those different forms, but when you're speaking, you have to constantly be aware of which form the word. Another characteristic of Slavic languages is that they don't have articles. That means like the or a in English. And again, the exception is Bulgarian and Macedonian.
Someone in the comment section wrote down that Bulgarian has actually I know you. Wait, I'll check it out. I'll find you. John Singer, I think that was you. Yeah, I think you pointed out that Bulgarian has definite articles, right? And I guess Macedonian has as well.
The most widely studied Slavic language is Russian. And that's probably because it's the most widely spoken. There are 150 million native speakers of Russian. And if we include second language speakers, there are 260 million proficient speakers.
Quite a lot.
The second most widely spoken is Polish, with around 40 million native speakers.
I didn't know that.
The third most is Ukrainian, with about 30 million speakers. The fourth is Serbo-Croatian, with about 19 million speakers. And yes, I know some people consider those to be separate languages, but I will leave that topic for a different video for now. The question of the day for Slavic language speakers is, can you communicate with the speakers of different Slavic languages? And if so, which ones? Is it just the ones in your language branch, like East Slavic or South Slavic, or can you communicate with the speakers in other branches as well? Thank you for watching and have a nice day.
I want to hear you say bye in Polish if you're from Poland. Yeah, it was an educational video for me. Hopefully for everyone else. Well, I mean, I'm sure that some of you already knew some of these facts. And I think this is such an interesting topic and such a wide topic because I can't really claim, well, I don't really know much about every Slavic language, and that's because usually how I learn about them is because I meet people from these countries. I still haven't had much contact with people from, for example, Czech Republic or like Poland. So yeah, I would really like to learn about these new languages. Obviously, I don't have that much time to learn the languages themselves, and also for a language, you really need to have like a really good basis or like understanding of why you're learning it. So it has to be useful for you. And at this point, I have to learn some other languages. But videos like these really make the picture a bit more clear. And yeah, I just think it's very interesting that's because it's such a recent split of languages, of branches, that's the reason why we might understand each other so well. That's good to know because now it all makes sense. And if you are a speaker of a Slavic language, it doesn't have to be your native language. You can write down in the comments below if you understand some other Slavic languages. How well do you understand Serbian language? Do you understand it or not? Also, let me know if you have some other videos that I can react to. Until next time, vidimo se uskoro. Pozdrav!